On this episode of the Smoke and Barrel Show, we're going to be talking about 5 cigars you need to try. This episode, we want to talk about 5 cigars we think you need to try, and I'm here with Kyle from Route 7 Cigars. And Kyle, I love doing this kind of an episode because I learn a lot about some cigars I've never tried, and I'm hoping everybody out there gets the same opportunity. So before we jump into the cigars, let's just talk a little bit about why we want to do this, right? I mean, I think there's one of the things I've learned is that there's some cigars that I haven't seen before, I haven't touched before, and things like this kind of bring me to them.
Right. Well, that's the whole idea. I mean, you know, some of them you've seen many times before. Some of them you probably smoked before, but you forget about them. You go on to the next one, you know, you get into something else, and so you kind of forget it. It's just cigars that I know are really popular. They're really good companies, and I just like to reiterate that, hey, you need to come back and try these again, or this is new, limited edition, or first time run. You need to come out and see what
and
cigars
are
all about.
One of these, I've seen a bunch in here, and because of what they've done with sort of the rebranding, it's a really great cigar. Then, now I'm hooked on it.
Right, and people then look at it and they don't realize it's the same cigar because it's been rebranded. So it's my job to let them know that, hey, you need to look at this again because they've rebranded the cigar.
Absolutely. All right, so let's just jump right in here, guys. And we're going to start, obviously, here with the first cigar, which is a relatively new cigar.
Yeah, it's brand new.
By my father. It's called the My Father Blue.
Yes. Now, it came out at the retail trade show in March is where they presented it. It finally probably came out sometime in August. This is the first time that My Father Cigars, with Don Pepin and his son Jaime, have gone to Honduras, and they built a factory in El Paraíso, which is next to the Plasencia factory where most Rockies are made. But this is the first time they've ever decided to go into making a Honduran cigar. All their other stuff has been Nicaraguan or blends of Nicaraguan in their Nicaraguan factory or their factory in Miami. But this is the first shot.
And I love the My Father line. All the cigars are really good, but when this one came out, it did kind of have a different flavor that you don't really get across it, and that's the Honduran.
Where most Hondurans have kind of an earthy taste, this has that to it.
So let's talk about this. So let's talk about the construction for a second. So the wrapper
is a Connecticut broadleaf. It is not in a Maduro. You can tell it's really not dark. Usually when you hear Connecticut broadleaf, you think of a Maduro because that's usually the way they process it. They didn't process it that way. It's called broadleaf because that's what the plant is called in Connecticut because they have broadleaves. Go figure, you know. I mean, and then the binder and filler are all Honduran. So there's no other blend in it. It's definitely medium-bodied.
Yes, I've had it. I would agree. It's definitely a medium-bodied cigar. I think the Honduran binder and filler gives that broadleaf a little bit of a different flavor. I've had broadleafs before. This one, guys, definitely has a different sensation with that Honduran binder and filler.
On top of that, you're not getting any of the pepper or spice you would get in a Nicaraguan cigar, which usually is what My Father's characteristic is, and it does not have that.
And where does this ring in as far as cost is concerned? And just before we talk about that, guys, we're in Virginia, so keep in mind your taxes in your state may be different, but here, where does this kind of ring in?
It's around the $12 range, which is where most of My Father's are. If you look at the rest of their line, 7 to 12. I mean, some are a little higher, but most of them are in that range. And they've been really good about not rising prices and keeping it in that range for a while. So
awesome.
So. So you really need to try it. It's really
definitely.
Good cigar.
My Father Blue. It's a really good cigar, and again, I think being that it's the first time they've done that Honduran, it's definitely a reason to run out and get it. I think it's really good. Awesome. All right, so let's move on to the second cigar. What do we have next here?
So the next is Encore Black, which is made by EPC, which is Ernesto Perez Carrillo. who made the Encore, which was the 2018 Cigar of the Year.
Yep.
This is done with a broadleaf wrapper, but it's done as a Maduro, and this is the first time they've extended the Encore line, though this is only limited edition.
So with the Maduro, it's probably going to pack a little bit more of a punch.
A
Probably
little
more of
richer,
little-
and yeah, probably a little innard sweetness you
Yep.
wouldn't get if you did the Encore regularly.
more on the full side.
Correct,
for sure.
definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, headed to full. Though it's still Dominican tobacco in it, so that kicks it down a little.
Yeah.
It does have a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. It has a Mexican San Andres
Yes.
binder,
Yep.
and then a Nicaraguan and Dominican filler. So
Okay.
you're getting a little hybrid mix all over this.
Yep. And this is a new cigar. This has been around for a while.
No, it just came out probably in the last month and a half, two, that we've had it anyway, but it's not staying around. It is a limited edition. We don't know how long or how many they made to keep this going. So if you're really interested, you need to come in soon. Because I don't know if I can order it again and get it again. You know, you never know when they're going to say, hey, it's done.
Yep.
This is called the Bulwarks, this size, and it's a Perfecto. You can see the narrowness on both ends, which definitely gives it a little intenser flavor than the other lines, like the Robusto and the Toro. It's really, really good. The price is $21.50.
Yeah, so this one rings in a little bit higher.
This is probably the most expensive cigar we're showing off. But because it's limited, it's not something. It's a one-time, two-time deal, you know, and
All right, so our next cigar, maybe the hardest to pronounce here, is the Trinidad.
Correct. Right? And yes, because they use Spanish, it's a spiritu, which means spirit.
Yep.
And this is the number 3 line. Trinidad is made in 3 lines so far. They may end up making a 4th. 1, 2, and 3, and it's come out in successive years as a different line. I like the 3 the best. I think it has the most power.
Yeah.
Again, it's made by it's distributed by the people that distribute Romeo and Julieta and Monte Cristo and all those brands. They're the largest distributor and maker of cigars. But this is made by A.J. Fernandez, who's been making a lot of cigars for them in the Monte Cristo 1935 and the Romeo Blue Nicaraguan and Aging Room, which is also theirs.
I don't think we've done a series on 5 cigars you should try.
That hadn't had an AJ.
AJ hasn't been in there somewhere. So what's the construction?
Okay, so
on
the
this
blend is Nicaraguan binder and filler completely, but a Mexican San Andres wrapper. Well, the Bulwarks had it as the binder. This is the wrapper.
Yep.
Normally, when you see a San Andres wrapper, it's going to be a Maduro. It's going to be dark. It's the way it's made. I think it smoothens it out because they do that. Most Mexican tobacco is very, very earthy. It's almost like eating a mud pie.
Right. And being that the Mexican San Andreas is on the wrapper as opposed to the binder and filler, what are we going to get here? More spice? More kick?
You're going to smoothen out the spice. Where this brought the spice out, because most Dominican tobacco, where EPC comes from, doesn't have a lot of spice.
Right.
They put it in the binder along with a little mixture in the filler of Nicaraguan to give it a spicier taste, to give it a little more oomph. This, they put a Maduro on it to lower the oomph a little. You know, you don't want to just get full-blown spice, and that's all you're going to get. This gives it a little undertone sweetness and richness because it's a Maduro wrapper. And again, it's made by AJ, so you can't go wrong
there.
It's also box pressed. So
box pressed. And then where does that typically ring in at as far as cost is concerned?
It's 13, maybe 14, depending on the size. All of them are about the same except the Bulwarks, which we jumped up, but everything else in the line is between $12 and $15.
Okay. All right, and then the next cigar, the 4th cigar here, is the Ilusión by Aganorsa.
Right.
So this is...
So Aganorsa makes this. It's called Ilusione, and it's made for Dino Gioletto, who owns a store in Reno, Nevada. He's the one that got together with Aganorsa to say, hey, I wanted to make a cigar, basically a house blend. It came out in 2006. And when I went to the retail trade show, every booth I walked in, people asked me, had I gone over to their booth and tried Illusione? When that many people talk about a cigar, then there's something going on here.
Yeah, and that's actually what I'm smoking today as well. And I've had this cigar now a couple of times, but before we get into the construction, let's just talk about they rebranded this or remarketed it.
They made a totally different band for it, a totally different box presentation.
Yeah.
Since it's been around 2006 and it was widely popular or whatever, I guess they figured, it's getting kind of boring and this is a great cigar. Let's see if we can't rebrand it, get some new people in it. And have, stores talk about the brand more, because you now have to walk a customer in to tell him, hey, this is the Illusione you used to smoke, but it's a new band.
And it does make a difference when you walk into the humidor, especially for some of those newer smokers. Like those, they put a lot of money into these bands for a reason. Right?
Yeah,
they
they
track
want
the
it to
tension,
pop.
the
They
box,
want you
the
to
color.
look at it, whatever. In the old Cuban style, the bands weren't fancy. They were normally brown looking. They were conservative or whatever. Well, the American market, young people aren't that conservative.
Yeah.
So they try to brighten it up.
And something similar, Camacho.
Right. Camacho was a
rebranded.
very, very straightforward, looked like a Monte Cristo Cuban band, brown with its name on it. And Davidoff, when they bought it, decided, we need to make it pop. We need to get new generations of people into this cigar.
Yeah.
So, they rebranded. This is the same idea. This is still very conservative. I mean, it's not a bright, bold band, but I guess they just decided, hey, we need people to go back to this cigar again and look at it.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I think I didn't know this until it caught my eye, right? Just the way they package it now, talking about the construction, is the Corojo wrapper.
Yeah,
so I really like the Corojo wrappers. It's got good spice. It's got good flavor, and so that's what we have here, right?
Yes, exactly. And then it's all Nicaraguan.
Yep.
It's 100% Nicaraguan with Nicaraguan Corojo wrapper, which gives it almost a minerally kind of salty taste, what Cubans show, not as pronounced.
Sure.
It's not grown in Cuba. It's not going to, but that's the kind of flavor profile you get at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's a really smooth cigar.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good priced.
I think it's
I think you ought to come back and try it again.
Yeah, I think it's kind of on the medium side.
Yes.
I don't think
it's definitely not full.
Definitely not mild.
Right. Correct.
And so if you're looking for something that's not going to knock you over.
Correct. Yeah.
Cigar.
Okay.
All right, and then the last one we have here is the Oliva V.
Right, this is the Oliva V 135 anniversary.
Yes.
This celebrates their 135 years. Melanio Oliva got into the tobacco business in the 1800s, 1886. This was to celebrate their 135 years that he had gotten into the tobacco business. It is a Series V, but it's not the same blend as the Series V you see on the shelf, or the Melanio, which is also a Series V, but just called the Melanio.
Yep.
This is a completely different blend.
Yep.
It's all Nicaraguan. This comes out about once every 4 months. It's a limited edition, but they had a lot of tobacco. They probably produced it now for 3 or 4 years that we've gotten this cigar, and it comes in about every 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
We usually get 5 to 10 boxes. 2 to 3 of those boxes are sold every time I get it in, customer walks in. It comes in a 12 box. The design is gorgeous.
Yes, the way they lay that out.
But the cigar is medium. It's a really
what's the
great
wrapper?
cigar. It's Nicaraguan.
It's all Nicaraguan.
It's Ecuador Habano is what they technically call it. So
Okay.
yes, Oliva has big farms in Ecuador.
Yeah.
The cousins of the Oliva family that make cigars, they're the ones that produce all the Ecuadorian tobacco in Ecuador. So they get it from them. Binder and filler in Nicaraguan.
Okay, and where does that ring in?
$14.50.
14.50,
Yes.
and the Illusion, depending on the size that you buy.
Yes, is 12 to 14
Yeah,
also.
exactly.
Like we
Yep.
said, you know,
Yeah, they're
they're
all
pretty
very
much
similar.
all in the same range there.
Yep.
And this is a Perfecto. You can see how it slopes down. So it starts out slower, and then once it hits, it opens up a lot more in the flavor profile.
So
too.
now, is this a limited
Yeah,
edition?
it's limited, but they've, like I said, we've had it for at least 3 years, maybe 4, and they have enough tobacco stored to keep it going. They've never said, "Hey, we're running out." They let us know that this production of this group we don't have anymore. We're working on the next group, and it's all the same tobacco being stored somewhere. That they're just putting together once they feel like they've gone enough time that they can, you know, blow it out every
Release
time
it again,
they get it. Correct.
There you go.
So,
all right, guys. So there you go. So there's 5 cigars that if you haven't had a chance to try them yet, a couple of them are relatively new. One of them has been rebranded, but there's 5 cigars you should definitely try.
yeah, and even if you have tried it, come back and try it again now that you've seen this video.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
they're
as
great.
always, give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Smoke and Barrel Show.